Welcome back to the SCIF. I am Matt. That is Stu. We are the Green Beret Life, and got a good show for you tonight. I'm a little better from last week. I'm still not 100% healed, but whatever this was going down. You know, it was funny. I was watching one of the football games, the Miami game, and they said half of the Miami football team, this was the college, was sick with the flu. And I'm like, this must be what I had, you know. I mean, it must.
Well, it's amazing. The flu's come back because in the height of COVID, there was no flu. I don't understand it.
It disappeared and it came right back.
It disappeared. We had conquered flu, Matt. We had conquered the common flu.
I can tell you, flu conquered me this past week because holy shit, did it kick my ass.
Oh man. Well, as you guys know, and Matt made the point when he and I were talking before the show, this is the Green Beret Life Minnesota show edition. Yep. The past few weeks, Minnesota has been the epicenter and kind of just the
epicenter of bullshit, Stu, is what you're trying to say.
It's everything that's been happening around the country is all happening in Minnesota, from the fraud to illegal immigration and what's going on with the things that are being given to them, the Democrats being involved with the fraud, and everything that's been going on around the country has all culminated and traveled to Minnesota and just is festering there like the witch's cauldron. You know, expect Tim Walz to be there with a big, long, warty nose, just stirring the cauldron of just filth that is bubbling up there.
It is stirring the shit. You know, like what they were doing, the National Guard would have to do overseas, right? That's Tim Walz. He is the shit that's being stirred, and spread out throughout Minnesota.
You know, one of the big stories, and it's not that it's played out, but there's been a whole lot more information that's come out, was the ICE officer and what was the first, Regina Good? What was her first name?
Dude, I don't care.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
You know, that incident that took place, and I'm sure you guys saw it play out.
She was a they them, I think.
Right. Well, I'm sure you guys saw it play out the same way we did. The initial media run out, oh, she was just lost and turning around, to, oh, she didn't really hit him with the car. She just bumped him. She didn't really hit him. It just looked like it, with his feet sliding across the pavement, and the noise of the impact on body camera. Oh, well, just all the crap that they tried to spin from the instant this occurred.
Politicians saying it was murder, basically trying to get people out into the streets. Right?
Exactly.
Where are the arrests, dude? Where are the arrests? Where are the arrests of the people interfering with ICE officers? Where are the arrests of the politicians in Minnesota that are dead to rights, neck deep in all of this fraud bullshit? And more shit's coming out every day.
Oh yeah, we've got a story on Ellison.
Yeah,
we definitely have a story on him. Concerning this fraud. Trump's making moves with the temporary protected status of Somalis. He's also passing or looking to basically denaturalize Somalis that are convicted of defrauding the American people. And I absolutely agree with it. Your citizenship is contingent upon, you don't get to come in here, profess to want to be an American citizen, and then go to defraud the people of the country of millions upon millions of dollars.
Don't you know they've benefited Minnesota so much when you listen to these dipshit politicians? I heard a number today, 94%. This is what I heard, okay?
Okay.
Right, so take it for what you will. 94% are in some sort of public assistance. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I forget. I had seen, and I wish I'd kept the breakdown, but they had the breakdown on it was like the welfare, the housing, the SNAP. For crap, I wish I kept that. I found it for one of our weeks, but it got lost in the shuffle. But yeah, it was a vast majority were on some form of public assistance. And I guess my thing would be to those politicians of point to it and show me where. How are they benefiting the community over and above how a native born American would? Oh, they're running a convenience store. Okay, that doesn't take a Somali immigrant to operate a convenience store.
Yeah.
You know, what service and benefit are they providing that we would not be able to provide for ourselves?
Stores. There are not a lot of convenience stores run by them, but a lot of nothing is run by them, to be honest with you. So isn't it funny? They're so worried about
empty buildings of childcare.
Yeah. Isn't it? They're so worried about childcare, and a large swath of the community doesn't even work. So isn't that interesting? Yet working people can't get.
Why do you need childcare if you're on public assistance and not working?
It's just more that all of this was set up, in my opinion, as just a little backdoor to give the community a shitload of our taxpayer money in order to keep these shitbags that have ruined the state in power. Now, there's other people keeping them in power too, and you're seeing all of these people out protesting ICE getting rid of illegal aliens. So all of these morons out there are obviously voting for this bullshit, and they are fucking up your state, Minnesota. Those same people are screwing up your state to the point where I don't know if you can fix Minnesota. It is so gone. It is so good. What a beautiful state it was, Stu.
And it's sad, Matt. Minnesota's not the only state, and it is a contagion that is spreading. It is the corruption, the rot, the moral decay. There are swaths of America that are not America.
Correct.
The people that have come in are not assimilating to become American. They're living in their Somali communes. They're living in their.
They were brought over as people bombs to destroy.
Yes,
that's what they're doing.
They were brought over. The intention was not for them to come over and assimilate. The intention was for them to come over and congregate, and then they could take and say, okay, we have this group that's congregated here in this area. We can give them this funding, and they're going to vote for us because we're giving it to them. And they become building blocks of keeping these people in power and these parties in power. You can't run against Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You can't go to the Somali community and say, look, I know that these guys have been giving you Section 8, welfare, SNAP, all of these COVID benefits, the meals deal where you're serving 5,000 meals out of a restaurant that can barely do fucking brunch. And we're going to take all of that away because we need to balance the budget and we need to get Minnesota financially and fiscally responsible. No, I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for the guy that keeps giving me shit. Yeah. I mean, it's not rocket surgery. No. Nowhere close.
Yeah. So, yeah. What story you want to start with?
I don't know. I think we covered most of them just now.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's a pretty quick show. You got any comments?
All right, quick show, guys.
You got any comments?
Before Troy's hopped on. He said that you sure Minnesota libtards last week.
What did I do?
Whatever you said about Minnesota, you called it probably about it reaching a boiling point or something.
Oh yeah, it's this whole thing. This whole thing is so disgusting. What sucks about the state is I used to really like Minnesota. I knew it was a liberal bastion, but there were people up there that weren't. And it was just the city, Minneapolis and St. Paul were two really cool cities. They used to have the Hennepin Block Party downtown. Everybody would go down there and listen to all the bands like Smashing Pumpkins and Tool played there. I mean, it a bunch of shit that would happen. And it was fun. Right? It wasn't filled with third world foreigners, right? And you had Lake Minnetonka, which was just so much fun in the summertime. This beautiful lake. The fishing was phenomenal. Used to water ski. Then they had a place called Big Island where all of the boats would hook up next to each other, and you'd have bands playing on pontoon boats. And dude, it was, I mean, it was awesome. And if you wanted to get into the North Woods, it was less than an hour away, right? And beautiful rivers, lakes, I mean, just unending. And then they imported the third world. And then they started getting radical left. I mean, radical left. And then you started seeing the fraud within the election system, right? Where somebody would win, but, you know, recounting votes. Oh, we just found a bag of votes in the back of a station wagon.
in the trunk of a VW Bug.
Al Franken is now our senator, right? I mean, it's just stupid shit like that. And then more Somalis and more Somalis. And then the Somalis they got over, they gave everything to the point where they got so brazen, right? They knew they could do whatever they want. And if they came up and committed a crime and you defended yourself or whatever, guess who's getting in trouble? You are, right?
Wow.
They flooded them into all of these smaller outlying towns like Wilmer, Mankato, St. Cloud, Faribault, all just destroyed. The epicenter is where Hormel meatpacking plant is right down in Austin. Austin, Minnesota looks like fucking little Mogadishu. I mean, I'm not kidding. It looks like the third world when you go down to that city. And they've just destroyed all of these freaking towns. And now it's starting to creep into Wisconsin. And you see exactly how it's done. They go to a business, a big dairy. They boot out the people that are working there, the locals, and then they bring in Somalis, and then they get housing and everything else for them. And next thing you know, there's a whole enclave of just Somalis, and they start terrorizing the town. And it's insane. And they're protected. So they're destroying your town by taking your jobs and taking your taxpayer money to fund it. And that's what they're doing. And it must be stopped, or we don't have a country. None of them want to be American. Now, not all are bad. Some do. But I mean, I'm talking about the vast majority. They don't want to be American. They don't want to speak the language. They don't want to honor any of our, culture and history. In fact, they want to fight it. They get into the schools and they demand the schools change. You can't celebrate this holiday because it's discrimination, while the schools secretly make prayer rooms for them so they can go and do prayer rug time, right? When how dare you wear a crucifix or you want to say a prayer in class as a Christian? I mean, this is what is going on. And then there's families up there that'll just defend, not knowing that they're destroying themselves. So if a parent were to bitch about it in the schools, right? Other parents, the woke, the ones trying to prove how virtuous they are, right?
Yeah.
They will go after the parents and punish the kid of those parents. He can't play with my kid. He can't come to this party. You're racist.
Yeah, the kid gets ostracized.
Yeah, how dare you say you want us to be able to celebrate Easter in the schools? How dare you want to celebrate Christmas or Constitution Day in the schools? This is the bullshit that is going on. They're destroying our country. They're destroying our culture. They're destroying our people. We always say this every time. You want to come to this country. You want to be an American. You want to not come here for handouts. You want to come here to figure out your own way and make it work and become a productive member of our society. We welcome you from no matter where, right? You want to come and leech off of our systems and steal our money and change our life and change our culture while never assimilating into our culture. What are you doing here then? Fuck off. Go back to your own country.
Well, the good thing is it looks like it, and again, until the courts get a hold of it in some way, shape, or form, which from what we've seen, they're going to try to.
Well, they're suing. There's the state of Minnesota is suing.
Yep. I've got that.
Okay.
I've got that. But this right here, Trump has stated the intent to denaturalize convicted Somali fraudsters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where he's come out and said that the administration would denaturalize foreign-born Somali citizens if they were convicted of fraud. We're also going to revoke the citizenship of any naturalized immigrant from Somalia convicted of defrauding our citizens. Now, as much as I love that statement, I would take it even further and say any naturalized immigrant from anywhere, any country, convicted of defrauding our citizens. Because Matt and I were speaking before the show, and I'm sorry if you're coming here or from another country and you get your naturalization, your citizenship naturalized, and you turn around and you start defrauding American citizens, you lied to get your citizenship. You have no intention of becoming an American and becoming a part of the fabric of the country. You're here to grift and steal and rob anything that you fucking can. You're literally a goddamn pirate. You're literally a fucking bandit, a highwayman. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. Here's where else I would take it. Anybody that's, so we have a bunch of, because they've been importing them here for 20 plus years, right? So you have lots of children that were born here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And anybody that is involved with fraud, period, lose any type of social services forever. I don't care who.
Yeah.
You'll lose any social safety net forever. Okay, this place sucks so bad. Go to some place that you want to be, but you're not gonna live for free off the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, you're not going to come over here and steal from the hardworking, tax-paying citizens that are doing their job and actually contributing to the fabric of the country. No, go.
Yeah. So,
it's like when they flick the lights at the bar. I don't care where you go, you can't stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just
well, the whole thing is you come here, you steal from us, which is what you've done right there. Anybody that gets caught, and I'm naturalized, born Americans, whatever, you get caught in any of this fraud, you never get any more welfare again. See, because right now, all you can do is go and get on welfare, have a kid, get more welfare, have another kid, get more welfare. And next thing you know, you're creating a whole dependent system, which is what's happened up here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And here's how you get your money, son. You go and you defraud these Americans here.
Well, it has turned into you have generations that have been on public assistance, and there's a cultural aspect to it. There's a whole lot going into it, but there's cultural aspects. There's everything else that, you know, anyone looking to better themselves and get out of that is ostracized by their community.
Well, tell me this, Stu. Tell me this. Why, if somebody is able-bodied, young, in shape, right, and receiving welfare, why are we not putting a broom in their frickin' hands, a paintbrush in the other, and saying, here's what you're going to do. You're going to sweep the streets. You're going to clean up. You're going to fix your neighborhood. You're going to earn the money that we're giving you, right? Why are we not doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. You know, even when they were talking about for the ones that weren't disabled for welfare, I don't even think it was like 20 hours a month or 40 hours a month or something, or 20 hours a week. I forget. You're like, oh, that's just too much. I can't. There's no way I can do that.
Yeah, well, it's like, there's no way we're going to get the money
work. I mean, again, that's if you do it across 7 days a week, that's less than 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
You can't go and do something.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're at the library taking in books or cleaning the windows at the library. You can't do something for 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or the welfare, the Section 8, the SNAP, the Medicare or Medicaid, you know, whichever one it is, you know, 3 hours a day is just entirely too much. Whereas those of us that are supplying you all of that are working 40 to 60 hours a week.
Yeah. It's complete bullshit. And there's so many advanced ways you could even keep track of it to make sure that fraud wasn't being committed, because that would be just an open invitation to fraud. You know, there's something else. There's another. Somebody asked me about this, and I said, somebody needs to do an investigation, Stu, because there's going to be a million of these things, but this is something that I'm aware of. So if, we were bringing via chain migration, like parents and grandparents of
Yeah.
Somalis over, right?
Yeah.
And check this out. They get put on Medicaid, right? They'll be given Social Security, as far as I know, right?
Yep.
If they can't work, right? And then listen to this scam. This is what needs to be investigated. So if somebody's getting regular medical care, they'll take a family member, and the
They're the
family
caregiver
can
and get
become
paid.
the caregiver that'll get paid to take care of their family member. Tell me what a scam this is. They need to look into that, because how are they keeping track of names and who's who and who's the actual caregiver, and are they providing care?
Why, as a country, do we hate ourselves so much?
Yeah. How are we itemizing that they're actually doing care, right?
Yeah.
In the first place. It needs to be investigated, because that's going to be another book of this fraud.
Oh,
right?
dude, that's a trilogy. That's not just a book.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to Trump denaturalizing these convicted fraudsters,
Mm-hmm.
they're also looking at ending the temporary protected status.
Yeah,
And
we were talking about this before, and
yeah,
this was announced a while ago. It is just happening right now. And I know the same thing is happening with Haitians. Apparently, they're being sent back a bunch of them are being sent back in February. I know there's a bunch of pissing and moaning down here about it. But yeah.
So, well, they'll attempt to send them back. They just won't go. And then they'll float around through the country for 20 years, with being arrested for this and that and the third thing. And the police agencies refuse to honor the ICE detainers.
Another thing that this is just, I'm just thinking of these things while we're talking. But so the state of Minnesota, the reason why this woman was shot was, I'm going to tell you why. Officials have told the police to stand down, right? And we've seen this even when there's calls we saw in Chicago. There were calls while people were actively trying to run and ICE agents off the road and shoot at them. They have been told to stand down in these cities. So Hennepin County Sheriff, nowhere to be found, right? And if you look up this woman, how did she become sheriff? There's no freaking way. Anyways. And then the police chief in Minneapolis is the same thing. They're not out there controlling these crowds. And if they were out there controlling these crowds, that woman would have never been in the position to block the ICE agents from doing what they were trying to do and then trying to run over an ICE agent. They wouldn't have been there in the first place. And that question, isn't there something criminal to that? Because there is mass disorder in your city, and you're not dealing with it with the police department.
The Supreme Court did come out and say that have no duty to protect anyone.
Yeah. Well, well, there's an assumption of a fiduciary. Well, not.
One would think,
right?
But I know your point.
Yeah. So there has to be some sort of criminal angle to that. So why isn't the federal government using it to sue these states?
Even if not criminal, just your dereliction of duty, you're removed.
Yeah. And when you think back,
although a sheriff would be very difficult to remove because they're an elected position, but your point still stands.
When you wind it back a little bit more, and then it just goes to the blue collar logic side, that they want this shit to happen. They want these deaths to happen. This is why they're winding these people up. They want to get them out. They don't give a shit about you. We've been saying this all along. They don't give a shit about you, lefty do-gooder, right? They want you to get out there and you to get killed so they can jump around and make a big ordeal over you getting killed, but not giving a shit that you got killed, just so they can use it as a cudgel to destroy the other side, which is trying to keep law and order in this country. That's what they're doing.
I mean,
it's intentional destruction. Once more. Go ahead.
And that's exactly what it is. You have all they're wanting to do is spin things up, wind things up, and then turn it loose. And when something does happen, then, oh, it's Trump's fault. Oh, it's because these ICE agents are. And that's some of the stories I've got for some of the other stuff. And we'll get there. It's literally they're talking about how it's the irresponsibility of Trump sending ICE in that caused, XYZ to happen. It's like, we're going to totally disregard the fact that this person was following law enforcement around for the day, inserted herself into position to block traffic, to hinder law enforcement activity, was approached by law enforcement, asked to step out of the vehicle, then she reverses it. And here's my thing. Instead of reversing the vehicle all the way around and going forward, she reverses about 4 feet, puts it in drive, and then goes forward at the officer.
Yeah.
If your intent is to escape and to get away, would you not back around until your path is clear and then proceed forward?
She saw the officer in front of the vehicle. She accelerated. She hit the officer that was in front of the vehicle, right? There is zero question whether that was a justified shooting. It was an
absolute. And my point would be, do I think she intended to kill the officer? No. Do I think she cared if the officer were killed? Also, no.
Back up, Stu. You have no way of knowing what she intended to do.
No, you're right. I don't. I'm saying
to kill the guy.
But I'm saying,
who knows? These people are nuts, dude. And they do
regardless as to. But my point is, Matt, regardless as to her intent, I don't think she cared if he was hurt or injured.
Yeah.
She was just doing what she was doing because she was the righteous one. She was the one that was in the right because, brown people need her help because they're incapable of doing things on their own.
This is where I have a problem too, and you and I discussed this already. This is where they should just have push bumpers on these damn things, or bring a bobcat with them, right? He wants to block,
flipping shit over.
Yeah, no problem. You can block and just bam, destroy her vehicle.
Have you seen the new Superman movie?
No.
There's
one of the Superman movies, but
it just, you're talking about flipping vehicles out of the way. One of the characters in there is a Green Lantern, and he lands in something. He walks by and he does his hand like this.
You are such a fucking nerd, but go ahead.
I am. I can't help it. And shit, the Green Lantern construct hands just start coming up and flipping vehicles everywhere, and that's what I just thought of when you said the Bobcat. These fucking vehicles flipping over into other stuff.
You just cause major damage to her vehicle. Boom. Yep. Just push it right out of the way. And then another officer in behind, that isn't, pulls her out of her car and arrests her on a felony crime for.
Hey, how you doing, ma'am? Welcome to my company. We're going to be friends for a minute.
And we're also going to charge you for the damage to the push bumper.
Yep.
So, I mean, why are we, I just don't understand why we're playing so hands off with these people that are interfering with it. If I was arresting somebody for like a DWI and somebody got out and started they would get arrested. You are not allowed to interfere with a law enforcement officer in the line of his duty. You can't.
Well, and like you and I said before the show, I really think they were trying to do the hands off with the mindset of, how like a toddler is. If you give in to the toddler's tantrum, it just rewards bad behavior. So I really think what they were trying to do is like, look, they're going to be out there. They're going to be agitating. Just ignore them. Do your job. Go around them. Ignore them. Don't interact. And my impression is that's what they have been trying to do, and only interacting when they had to. And this became one of those points that they had to, because this individual was literally blocking the street. She had her vehicle turned perpendicular to traffic. She was blocking
she was part
traffic.
Of a group of vehicles that were doing
it. Part of a convoy.
It was just her turn to be. But my question is, these people are warning people ahead of time. Somebody is tipping these people off. So somebody that's within ICE or within local law enforcement or something is tipping these people off. That needs to be found. And whoever's tipping them off, there needs to be steep consequences.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right now, it doesn't look like there's any consequences for it. The only consequences that have been received from this broad in the vehicle. That's it. There have not been any other consequences or repercussions that I've seen that would thwart this behavior. And like I said, there are creative things they could do. They could bring water trucks out and just start hosing them down.
Matt's like, bring out the water trucks, hose them down in the middle of winter. They'll leave.
Yeah. There's peaceful protest is one thing. So you don't water people down for peaceful protest. But when people are interfering, getting on vehicles, getting in front of them and trying to, that right there, them and everybody around them gets hit with water. Sorry.
You know what?
You decide
issue ice super soakers.
Yep. You've been iced. Boom.
Issue ice super soakers.
Yeah.
But the story we had started out is we had talked about Trump and denaturalization of people, and here is the temporary protected status, which when a country reaches a point that things aren't safe, whatever, they have a temporary protected status designator, which means that they're here because it's not safe for them to go home.
Well, that's never abused.
No. Well, Somalia has had. I thought I had it in here somewhere. It was like since the 90s, of 91. Somalia was granted temporary protection status in 1991. Was that 34 years ago?
Yeah.
You literally have people that have grown up and are middle-aged since their temporary status had taken place. And Biden extended it through September of 2024. But Trump is coming in and he's saying temporary means temporary. Country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status. Further, allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interest. We're putting Americans first. And that was through Kristi Noem at a press conference. But basically, some Somali migrants with TPS will be required to leave the country by March 17th.
No.
So that's one way to start to work on getting people that should not be here, out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're between the denaturalization and the TPS, that would be good. Freedom has brought up, he said, people are cheering ICE in Minnesota, but that's of course not getting coverage. Mm-hmm. And that ICE picked up a daycare company car today. Do you want to guess what the company car was, Matt?
A Porsche.
Come on, man. You're way too small. A Lamborghini.
It was a Lamborghini.
A Lambo owned by one of these people running a... You know what? I wish I could run a daycare that would pull in the amount of money that would allow me a Lamborghini. How nice would that be?
I mean,
a $200,000 to $300,000 car.
No, the basic Lamborghini is like $365,000 up to.
Are they now? Maybe I'm thinking mid-90s pricing with the Countach.
Yeah, no, these are the Volkswagen Audi built Lambos, which are badass, and they start mid-3s, dude. As far as I know, for like the plain Jane Huracan, right?
The plain Jane.
So. Yeah, and then they go up to $1 million. The Revuelto or whatever
But continuing Minnesota and the fraud, we were talking. It's like, how is this stuff allowed to go on?
They do a Lamborghini in Nardo Gray, by the way.
Oh, do they? Nardo Gray. That's interesting.
Yep, named after the racetrack in the town Nardo.
Yeah.
But
we've talked about going on in Minnesota. How has this been allowed to go on? How has nobody looked into this? How is this not obvious to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Treasury Secretary says there are disturbing tapes of Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison taking money.
Wait, Stu. Are there any other kind of tapes of A.G. Ellison that aren't disturbing? I don't think so, but go ahead.
I was thinking maybe kids opening presents on Christmas morning, but that's about all I can come up with.
With a picture of Waltz down there.
Yeah.
In his natural pose. Go ahead.
But, taking money to stop investigations into Somali fraud. So we literally have the Attorney General whose job it is to prosecute this fraud and these crimes against the citizens of his state, taking money from the Somali community and basically blowing off investigations and not participating and not prosecuting.
Scott Bessent was supposed to interview Tim Walz, okay, about some of this fraud stuff. And Tim Walz refused to provide security that day, right? Basically saying, hey, here's Scott Bessent's coming into town, but we're not going to have anybody here as far as state police or anybody else to provide any type of security. So Scott Bessent said, well, he says, then we can find other ways to get this information. I was doing a courtesy for you, and you decided that you were going to play these games. Okay, we'll see. Yeah. I got you. I have a feeling that Scott Bessent is probably about 100 IQ points smarter than Tim Walz is. So I'm sure this is going to work out.
But wait, hold on, Matt. That's saying Scott could have like an 80 IQ.
No, I said he's 100 points above. So
I know.
So
I said what I said.
Well, what is okay? So we know that Walz is basically retarded, right? And
he said it.
What?
Those are his own words.
Yes, that's 67. So I'm assuming that from the bare minimum, Bessent's probably a 167.
I don't know. I was giving Tim Walz like eggplant.
Yeah. So no, this guy Scott Bessent is the real deal, and I have a feeling. I really believe, and I know I get so frustrated here because there haven't been arrests, and I'm really starting. I know everybody else has, and I've sort of given her the benefit of the doubt. Pam Bondi, I'm losing my patience rapidly, right? But yeah. I really believe Waltz is going down, and I believe other members, including Ellison, are probably going to go down in all of this.
You know what I wish would have happened though is if Waltz had said that and Trump sent Scott Bessent in there with I don't know,
just with a whole platoon of Marines. You know what I mean?
A Marine fast company is just in there freaking securing the block for Scott. Oh, I'm sorry. You said you didn't have security, so I brought my own.
Yeah. Yeah. He sends the 82nd Airborne.
They're parachuting in, securing areas, securing buildings. Yeah. But in this story here, Scott Bessent said, it's hard to follow the money. There are evidently some disturbing tapes of A.G. Ellison in meetings with people who donated to him, calling for political favors to stop the investigations.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said here, there's a 54-minute recording from December 11th, which captured Ellison in a closed-door meeting inside his own state office, smoozing with Somali business leaders. I'm not even going to give them the Somali American.
I appreciate that.
Right. Somali business leaders who would later be nailed for stealing a whopping $250 million in federal COVID child feeding funds. Ellison was right there, sympathizing, encouraging, and promising to fight on their behalf against those state agencies trying to enforce the law.
Well, we had several members of the Minnesota State Legislature appear before Congress. And it came out during those meetings that DHS employees in the state of Minnesota were made to provide information on their children's bus stops, what school they went to, all sorts of weird shit, right?
Wait,
So
back up again. I'm sorry, what? Run that by me again. What?
agents for DHS in Minnesota, right, were made to give information to this is what they're saying allegedly
Made by whom?
via the administration, right? I'm talking about in the state of Minnesota, right?
Okay.
And they were requested, and this came out in those hearings, and I'm surprised it's not getting more coverage. That
Yeah, I've not seen this.
they were asking specifics about kids of these agents, and what they were trying to do is have leverage over them to scare them, because anybody who brought up investigating the fraud was then investigated, threatened, lost their job, whatever, from the administration.
Wow.
So this right here is going past even the fraud, right? To where you're actively I would imagine we have to get somebody on here who's up on the law, but I would imagine that has to deal with RICO in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Because there's kind of a conspiracy among the administration to threaten employees that came to you saying, "Hey, there's fraud," right?
Well, you would think it would be a conspiracy. It would be intimidation, blackmail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How could it not be? It's like, I'm coming to you saying, "Hey, I found something doesn't look right," and you're like, "Well, in order to you need to tell me what bus stop your child gets off from school."
Yeah, all sorts of shit, dude, like this.
Wow.
And so this brings into question.
I can't imagine how much of my mind I would have lost in that,
listen,
that situation.
So the female representative that was murdered, and if you read the whole story, okay, if you read this whole story from start to finish, okay, now this is the same one that the media is telling everybody the guy was a MAGA supporter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he was on committees, put on those committees by Waltz, and his wife was an actual staffer for Waltz. Okay, so, or Walls, whatever the hell he pronounces.
But when you hear anything, they still talk about, oh, well, MAGA was killing Minnesota representatives. That's still the word on the street.
When you hear the story, this dude who did this was in a fake police car. He had a mask on, and he was dressed up as a police officer. So there's like 3 crimes right there. Okay. Supposedly in the adjacent town to where this woman and her husband and her dog were killed, he was sitting along the side of the road. A female officer pulled up alongside him and tried to talk to him because he was in a cop car. She didn't How could she not know that cop car wasn't legit? When she tried talking to him, he just stared straight ahead and wouldn't communicate with her.
Wouldn't interact.
And she just left him. She just left him. A guy in a fake police uniform in a fake police car who won't talk to you, and he was wearing a fucking mask, right? So she just left.
And it wasn't even a good mask.
No,
it wasn't as if it's like, oh, he just has a skin condition. No, it was like the freaking Michael Myers mask, in Halloween.
So no, this is that isn't the end of it. So she just drives away. Makes no sense. You'd get fired for doing that, right? So he goes to the next town where the congresswoman lived. Now this congresswoman joined the Republicans, right? And basically stated she was the deciding vote that voted to not provide medical care to illegal aliens in the state of Minnesota, right? Which is a huge part of their grift that they want. They want more illegals there. That's why they're sanctioning cities. Those are more voters for them, right? So, anyways, the guy gets to that house, and 1 or 2 squads pull up, right? And they're there while he's still outside of the house. So while these other 2 squads are there, they allow him to get into the house, kill her, her husband, his dog, their dog, right, and escape out the back. Does any part of this story make any sense to anybody? And then he had a manifesto. And allegedly in that manifesto, he said he was doing it for walls. Allegedly.
But he's MAGA. He's MAGA,
Yeah,
Matt.
but he's MAGA. And he had a whole list of politicians.
Yeah.
So something is just not right. And then the story goes away and the media just loses all curiosity. Oh, it was MAGA. It was MAGA that did that because they found some roommate of his. Oh, yeah. I think he was into MAGA.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Some rando dumbass roommate. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Just some random dude on the street is like, well, he talked about Trump. Oh, he's MAGA.
So knowing this is where I've sort of gone off onto a tangent. Knowing all of this, and now you're backing up and you're starting to see that what some of these DHS agents are putting out there as far as stories on the intimidation or anything else. If you brought up fraud, right? Let your mind run a little bit. Is there anything that you would put past this son of a bitch? Is there? So he's going down. He is going down. What we're seeing and what we have right now, I just have a hunch. I have a sneaky suspicion it is just the tip of the iceberg on all of this.
Just the tip?
Not just him. It's not just him, dude. It's not just him. It's that Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. It's Ellison. It's a whole crew of them, dude. And
good.
And this whole shooting that happened is a perfect opportunity for these bastards, right? To deflect shit off of them because it happened the same day that these hearings were going on. Isn't that a coincidence too, right? So be dubious. Be dubious. So
well, in reaction to I'm sure to the shooting that happened last week and the preceding unrest, there's been lawsuits filed in Minnesota and in Illinois trying to kick ICE out of the state and say that they can't perform their law enforcement function in those states. Doubts,
too, they're going to find some dipshit judge that agrees with them, and then it's just
how much you want to bet it's going to be Boasberg? It's going to be that guy.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good bet, actually. Oh, he just happened to get another one.
What do you know?
Yeah. Well, right now, Swalwell and who else? It's another shitbag. They're trying to propose something basically where they're going to dox all the ICE agents. Basically, there's more to it than that. I'm paraphrasing, but they're not going to be allowed to wear masks and all of this bullshit again.
Well, that's already California. I think it was California already passed that law.
The state of California did. The federal government hasn't.
Yeah.
The state of California gets superseded by the federal government. So
exactly. That's nothing but posturing
for feelings out there. So isn't it funny how they want to be able to dox all these people? And there was a woman that doxed the officer, and she's just in the one town over where I used to live in Minnesota, right? It said, hey, this guy's my neighbor. Why don't you go by? Here's his address. It may be. Ooh, and she says the number, and then she was fired immediately from her job. But these people don't make no mistake, because there's all sorts of calls out there on TikTok everywhere calling for the death of ICE officers. And this stupid bitch goes on and gives the guy's address of where he lives. And I'm glad she got fired, but why isn't she arrested? Why isn't she arrested? So
it's, and that's the thing. Because of just what you said, let me minimize this screen here. They want to say, well, why do ICE agents need to wear masks? Exhibit fucking A.
Exactly.
Right here. Exactly. Because while they're there trying to perform their job and their duty, you're doxing them. They're getting death threats for doing their job. And you, of course, you'll have the freaking left-wing people, oh, Nuremberg trials, I was just doing my job. No, they're not the same fucking thing. Don't even try and equate it to that. But the point is, they're like, well, why would they need to wear masks? Because of you. Because of you. When you're going to sit there and say, oh, the violence comes from the right, you're literally doxing people that are doing their job.
Yeah.
If this woman had not been
perpendicular
to the flow of traffic.
It's not just the job. It's the job that the overwhelming number of Americans voted for.
Very good point.
So yeah, that's I think something that gets lost in all this.
And it is. You're right. It's not that Trump woke up one morning and said, "Hey, let's send ICE in on shit." No, that was what he was voted in for. But the thing is, right now, Minnesota and Illinois are trying to pass a law, trying to do whatever it is their bullshit is to say that, oh, ICE can't operate here. But it says basically,
what they're asking. Voting said it's going to go down in flames. Oh, you think? Because it has no basis in actual law. That's why.
Exactly. What they're asking, the state of Minnesota is asking a federal judge to throw ICE out of the state and prohibit ICE from enforcing federal law in the state. There's simply no precedent for that. These lawsuits in Illinois and Minnesota have no precedented cited case there. To do that would violate the Supremacy Clause, which said states cannot block the feds from doing their federal duties. Now, just to put this into context, Matt, do you remember when Texas, and they had those caravans coming up, and Texas had put out sea wire, had put out containers, and had put out other things to block that immigration from coming in. And we were told how the states could not prevent the federal government from doing their job and their duties, which had to be immigration.
Yeah.
But now, oh, heavens to Betsy, no, we can't do that. It's if the left didn't have double standards, they would have no fucking standards whatsoever. Because it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be twisted, it's going to be manipulated, and it's going to be made to meet whatever bullshit they have in line next.
All right. Do we have any comments we need to get to?
No, nothing yet. I think everyone's just kind of entranced with our delivery and our slick production value we have going here.
It's been so brilliant. So
now, one of these other stories here, and when the story first broke, it was coming out that DOJ lawyers had resigned. All these heads of departments had resigned because the DOJ.
Well, that got me. That got me today, Stu. So
no, it got me too. I didn't see it until if Red State had not updated their story, I would have been giving you the same story you sent me.
Yeah.
Because it was reported that these heads of departments had turned in their resignation en masse because the DOJ was not going to pursue a civil rights investigation against the ICE officer that was involved.
I was told it was because they were trying to get information on the wife.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of shady shit in the background of these people leading up to who's funding all of this.
You're right. There's a lot. But it winds up, it was nothing but a manufactured story by the press. Every one of these, lawyers that are resigning because of this shooting, either A, had already planned retirements weeks before this shooting ever happened. They had put in plans for retirement, or they had already, put in their resignation because they were moving on to other things. There has been absolutely zero resignation that's taken place because of the DOJ's handling of whatever's going on in Minnesota.
Now, this
and the other thing they won't tell you,
Stu, this woman right here, Harmeet Dillon, has been kicking ass. She should probably be elevated to be the next DOJ.
Yeah, so, she's working things out over there.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it's the fact that the FBI is investigating. I mean, do you not think if the FBI determined something that it would not be turned over to the DOJ for prosecution? I mean, the FBI is the law enforcement and investigatory arm of the government. The DOJ is the prosecutorial arm of the government. So would it not make sense for the FBI to investigate and turn over all of their findings to the DOJ for prosecution?
Yeah.
But the idiots on the left want to act like, well, the DOJ isn't sending investigators in there. The government already has investigators in there called the FBI. You know, either you trust the government or you don't. And if you don't, it doesn't matter what three-letter agency they send in there. It's not going to be good enough.
Well, I think here's the whole point to this story. Okay. This is to just sum this up. I know we're running close to that hour, right? And to sum up this story, Stu, you can't hate the media enough.
Well, every time you think you can, you're proven wrong.
There you go. You cannot hate them enough. You know, so
well, I do have two more I want to cover real quick before we close out.
Okay.
One of them has to do with we've seen the stories over the past year of the illegal aliens that have the commercial driver's license, the CDL permit.
Yes.
And the vast majority of them have come out of California.
Yes.
Well, there were talks and there was an agreement with the state of California and the federal government that basically what was happening is California would issue a CDL and it would be good past the term that individual is legally allowed to be in the United States. So if you had to be gone by January 2027, your license was good through July of 2027.
But what weren't they giving them to straight up illegals too?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But the fact that they were issuing licenses beyond the duration of the individual's legal stay in the U.S. is what drives this particular story. So the U.S. DOT went to California and said, hey, you're giving licenses to people that are good past their legal stay in the country. California says, oh.
By the way, I hate to keep interrupting you here.
No, go ahead.
I just found the fleet of ICE vehicles.
Right here? You know, they need to put some fucking flames on them and be like Optimus Prime.
Exactly.
But basically, California had 17,000 licenses issued to foreign-born truckers. 17,000. Now, the original plan was they were going to revoke those licenses and reissue based on whatever legal paperwork that individual had of what their drop dead date was to get the fuck out, right? Because right now their licenses extended past the date they needed to be gone. Well, California agreed. Yep, sure, no problem. You're absolutely right. That's an issue. We need to resolve it. Well, the U.S. Department of Transportation is freezing $106 million in federal funds earmarked for California, citing the state's refusal to cancel CDLs issued to more than 17,000 foreign-born truckers.
Well, here's when I see 17,000 in that they've done this. This is California and the left's attempt at destroying another industry that is skilled. First of all, to be able to drive a 65,000-pound vehicle down the road, you better be skilled. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an honest way to make a living and a way to make a good living. And they're destroying it. Where is the truckers union on this? I'm sure they've been out there, right? But they're not getting the coverage, I'm sure. But you can't bring in foreigners and have them take over the trucking industry too. I mean, we're seeing the repercussions of that.
Have you never watched the videos on YouTube of them motherfuckers driving a bus around through a mountain? Yeah. I mean, come on, Google it.
Yeah.
It's scary.
You need truck drivers. Without truck drivers, our country stands still, by the way.
Oh, to a screeching halt.
Yeah. So I think this is just an assault, not just on it's on a whole industry. It's on hardworking, tax-paying, patriot truck drivers as well as the American public. They're bringing 25 million plus people in this country over the last 4 years, and they're the ones that aren't sucking up all of the resources, public aid resources, are destroying our industries from within. So
well, right here, Matt. Again, you got to think this is just 17,000 in California.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, California acknowledged that its licensing system had been out of step with a state law. So California's licensing system was in violation of its own law, not federal law, its own law, requiring commercial driver's licenses to expire on or before the date a driver's federal work authorization ends. Then, just before the holidays, the state reversed course. It announced it would no longer invalidate the licenses despite earlier warnings.
Putting foreigners in a 65,000-pound missile where you know that they weren't trained up to spec. They couldn't even read English, many of them. This is another area where arrests should have already happened.
Yep.
You know? So we better start arresting some fucking people. I have to tell you this because I'm losing patience, to be honest with you. And if I am, I'm more patient than most. I'm starting to really get it. I'm starting to really get it why people are so upset. You need to start arresting these motherfuckers. Period. Amen.
Now, the last story we have now, right after the Minnesota shooting, did you hear about the shooting by ICE in Oregon?
Oh yeah, where the police chief in Portland was crying over it, and there were two Tren de Aragua involved with human trafficking and everything else.
Because all I had heard about the story was ICE has shot another civilian in Oregon. Civilian. Well, when you go looking into the story and get the actual details and not the headlines, we have Luis Nino Moncada, Venezuelan.
I thought it was
Bukaki. Didn't just something happen with Venezuela here recently?
Yeah. Wasn't his last name Bukaki?
Something like that.
Okay, go ahead.
Didn't something happen with Venezuela here lately? There was something.
Vaguely, I just can't place it.
Something. Illegal immigrant suspected of being an associate of Tren de Aragua was charged by the DOJ on Monday with aggravated assault of a federal officer with a deadly weapon. Matt, would you hazard a guess as to what that deadly weapon might have been?
Could it be a 4,000-pound missile?
Now, wait a minute, Matt. Was that not the same thing that happened in Minnesota?
You know what? You're right. It was the same thing that happened in Minnesota. Look at that.
Things are starting to come together.
Yeah, look at that.
But I was told a vehicle wasn't a deadly weapon. I don't understand.
I bet you there's people out there telling people to use their vehicles in this way too.
There might be.
I would guess. right? So,
But Moncada, who entered the U.S. illegally in 2022,
say his name
has
correctly. Say his name correctly, you racist.
Bukaki.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry. Who entered the U.S. I'm not Japanese, Matt.
You bigot.
In 2022, has a criminal history, allegedly refused to comply and used a vehicle to ram a border patrol car repeatedly. The two individuals were both struck by gunfire after an agent opened fire, fearing for the safety of the officers. Bukake and later admitted to intentionally ramming the vehicle, according to authorities. The incident has here's the quote of the week. The incident has drawn criticism from Oregon officials, including Governor Tina Kotek, Democrat, who claimed the situation was instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration.
Did you really have to say Tina Kotek's Democrat? No,
I did.
I don't think you did.
I did.
I don't think that was. You might as well just insert communist.
It is the fault of the Trump administration that a Trinidad Aragua gang member who entered the country illegally 3 years ago decided to ram the vehicle of law enforcement multiple times because he was being pulled over and arrested for his illegal activity. That is entirely Trump's fault.
There was another incident in California last week where a car was pulled over. They asked the guy if he had any weapons. They got him out of the passenger seat. He said, no. And then he runs. Well, he outruns the cops. He gets into the woods, right? And here's just really pisses me off because he was reaching for something in his pants. They sent in a dog after him. And what do you think he did?
Shot the dog.
Shot the dog immediately. You hear him yelp. He had a vest on. Okay. Dog comes, you hear him yelp and he comes out and he like gets right up next to his handler and the dog died. Right. I didn't hear. I think they smoked this guy. I hope they did. But media isn't covering it at all. Not at all. And here's another thing with the dog. You don't send a dog in if you know somebody's got a weapon, right? You can have the dog lead you in and you've got weapons on you, but I wouldn't send my fucking dog in there knowing that the dude had a weapon. You don't sacrifice the dog.
Well, that seems to be the big difference between the military use of working dogs and the police use of working dogs.
Yeah,
it really seems to be a big difference.
Law enforcement sometimes aggravates the shit out of me how risk averse they are. You're in a job, i.e., look at all of these school shootings where they needed to be in the buildings. Now, not all law enforcement's this way, of course, right?
Broward County.
You're seeing so much of this. You know, look at Uvalde, right? You look at what happened down there in Florida at the Marjorie Stoneman, where, law enforcement from the neighboring town kicked in the doors and went in. But had law enforcement that was there, that school resource officer, gone in, he would have saved a lot more people. If they would have gone in, out in Colorado with that, what was the one in Colorado?
I know what you're talking about. That was the trans shooter, wasn't it?
No. The one way back when in the 90s that started. Columbine, right?
Columbine, yeah.
That's where it started. And after that, they said, if you know somebody's inside, you don't wait for backup. If you know that people are being shot, you go in the building. That's been doctrine, right? But law enforcement, for some reason, not all of law enforcement, but a big chunk of it, you're there to go and take on that freaking shooter. I'm sorry to say, okay? If you are an out-of-shape school resource officer that never planned for this in your life, that is still your responsibility to go in there, And
you're literally entrusted with the lives of hundreds of children.
Yeah. So, just automatically sending a dog when a guy's got, they're in the military, when you even go to basic training, you learn specific ways on how to cordon and search, right? law enforcement knows this, right? So you could use the dog to guide you in there. I do not like this bullshit where they sacrifice somebody's dog. Fuck no. If a guy's got a gun, he's going to shoot your dog. If a guy's got a knife, he's going to knife your dog. You go in there and you shoot that motherfucker, period. And a lot of times they don't want to do it because they don't want to escalate the force. You know what I mean? Guy's got a knife. Oh, if he's got a knife, that's a deadly
That's a lethal weapon.
Yeah. You shoot him. He doesn't put the knife down, you shoot him. You know, they're so worried about that. They think, oh, well, maybe we have to sacrifice the dog first. I mean, that part kind of thinking, dude, makes no sense to me whatsoever. But there's been multiple stories this week with the illegals, right? And it's unacceptable. And the media is intentionally not covering them. Why? Because you can't hate the media enough. So, yeah.
That is true statement. Well, I think we got through pretty much everything. There is a lot going on in Iran right now. They seem to be on their.
It is on the way of collapsing. I do not see how this regime survives. There's a bunch of problems in Iran. Once irresponsible use of wells in that country, they have no water. Did you know this? Iran has no water, right?
Really?
That is a major issue. Yeah. I have heard information from the inside. Trump is the most popular politician over there. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Right? Trump ain't gonna turn the other way. Trump will, he's already said he's canceled a meeting that he had with the Iranian leadership because they're basically killing civilians over there in mass, right?
Yeah,
and that's why
was the story I had. There had been thousands.
They cut off the internet so the world wouldn't be exposed to it, right? And make no mistake, the deep state is tied at the hip in Iran. That's why we were flying cash in there and everything else, right? The whole infrastructure of the deep state is collapsing. I know we don't see it and we're getting frustrated. You're hearing me say we need arrests, right? But when you look at from Venezuela to what's going to happen in Cuba here soon and what's happening in Iran, these are big world-changing events that are for the good, right?
Yeah, so absolutely.
I think once we get a little more information on Iran, we'll have quite a bit to cover on it next week. But things are happening there. Say a prayer for the people there, right? And we'll see where this goes. But
absolutely,
good things are happening. So it's not all doom and gloom. But we need arrests. We need arrests. And we need to support ICE. And we also need to understand that these midterms coming up are huge. They're huge. We cannot sit them out. We cannot let history dictate what's going to happen in these midterms because our guy's in the White House fighting the fight on his own. The Republican Party isn't with him, right? We need to get more good Republicans in there. There's a handful of Republicans that are with him, but that's it. He's carrying the weight of everything on his shoulders. So,
like we've said before, Matt, it's name for me one agenda that the Republican Party has put forth that is worth a damn that does not have Trump's name on it, and there's
nothing. This is Trump's party, and I hate even saying Republican but we need to take over the Republican Party. The Senate is actively working against John Thune. The whole clown show in there is actively working against Donald Trump. This is why he can't get his appointees, and this is part of the reason why we're not seeing the arrests, right? So, but at that being said, no matter how much disgust you have for the Republican Party, for the survival of Trump and Trump's whole agenda, we must keep the House and keep the Senate. And once that happens, Trump will be able to steamroll. So we need to keep that in mind. Do you have anything else you want to put in there, Stu? Do we have comments we need to cover?
Well, we were just talking about the Senate and everything and the House. And I just looked just for shits and giggles. The median age of the Senate is 64.7 years old.
I would have thought it would have been older than that, to be honest with you.
I would have too, but they're freaking dying off. That they're literally dying.
Well,
in
why is
office.
Chuck Grassley still in the Senate? I mean,
why are 80% of them still there?
Mitch McConnell's still there.
Yes,
and I don't think he's hardly functioning at this stage, right? This being said, we are, in fact, Stuart and I are going to talk about this afterwards. We are going to have a congressional candidate for one of the big races. We're most likely going to bring him on for an interview, and he's a good guy. And I want to do whatever we can to help him. Not going to mention any names right now, but Stu and I are going to talk about this afterwards. So that is going to be coming up here soon. And any comments, Stu, on so far?
no, nothing. We haven't covered.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank every one of you guys for taking part in this whole thing, joining us, putting up with Stu's bullshit, and
I appreciate it.
And hey, seriously, for being a patriot, being involved, coming here every week, putting up with the nonsense that sometimes we put out there, and our goal to become more professional, right?
Wait, what? I have to become more professional?
Exactly.
I don't agree to that.
You didn't agree to any of it, but we're still
No.
stating, right? So, anyways, live in freedom every day. We will see you guys next week. Maybe we'll have some information on that interview, but I think you're going to like it. And Stu, you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
I'm good. Just want to thank everyone for showing up on their Tuesday evening. We appreciate the support, and like Matt said, we'll work on getting some more stuff to you guys, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Be there or be square.